live button. That'll let me know. It says it's going live. Hey, it says we are live on the YouTube.
It's not me.
Did you just turn it off?
No.
You did. I just saw you turn it off.
My camera and my microphone are off. Because I learned.
If you're out there on YouTube, rewind and see if it was Amy. Hey, on the YouTube, sorry about that. We're just having some goof around feedback here. We are live on the YouTubes for our June board meeting. Board President Golick, you have the phone.
Thank you, Dr. Ike. If you are watching on YouTube, we'd love to get your public comments. Please email them to admin@westlakecharter.com. Put the item in which you want to comment in the subject line, and please keep it to 250 words or less. With that, Amy, will you please take the roll?
Yes. Hope.
Here.
Sean.
Here.
Josh.
Here.
Katie.
Here.
Michelle. Meredith. Nurali.
Here.
Shannon.
Thank you, Amy. Celebrations.
Who would like to start?
Well, I'm going to go first then. Promotion was amazing yesterday. Sean and I both had the opportunity to celebrate it during governance, but it just ran so smoothly and everyone was so happy. It was, I always think every year's the best, but you know, this year's right up there. So with that, who's next? Nurali?
I'll celebrate. I want to celebrate community. Two pieces. I want to celebrate teachers, like all across. Graduation is here, and you really get a good idea when you're like at the end as a parent to just kind of see how much. I mean, it's not besides it just being a regular thing. Like my daughter, every day since her little school has ended, has remembered her teacher, everything her teacher used to do. My teacher used to do this in the morning, Mom, and she used to drink this, and this is how she likes something, and it's just how much of a role they play and how many things they learn. It's just amazing at such a young age. So first want to thank and celebrate all the teachers and staff really all throughout. And then I think the second thing is community. We had a community situation on one of my son's daycare, and the way all the parents came together. I mean, we don't even get to see each other to really just help out this family and be able to go to their house personally, and just the help they needed and how fast it happened within 48 hours was amazing to see. And it made me feel so good to be in a community like that. So those two pieces.
Thank you. Steve, do you want to celebrate?
Sure. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just promotion yesterday. It was fantastic. First time back in the gym after so many years, and just to bring that moment back for our students and our families and our community in general, it was just very exciting. So thank you for everyone who showed up and participated. It was just a really special event for our community.
Thanks, Steve. Katie?
I want to celebrate the end of an amazing school year, and as we look to next year, having 11th graders, upperclassmen on our high school campus is really exciting, and we're one more year closer to graduating our first high school class. So,
Josh?
Yeah. What? All right. I'm going to ditto promotion. It's just so cool to see the number of faculty that attends. You know, it's not just the teachers that they've had, it's everybody to just, I'll be honest, I really like the new venue and the new time as well. I thought it was so, but we could see the kids and just the nervousness.
Yeah.
And then the name would start to get called and all of them were just boom. And the strut happened, and it was awesome. The advisory teachers had special handshakes for some of them. John had special It was a great party. It was a lot of fun.
I loved the moment where you got to hand your promotion certificate to your daughter. That was
good.
Special.
That was good. So,
sorry.
So mean to me.
I know. I'm so sorry.
One thing I'll never get is that experience. Sean?
Do you want me to try turning on my?
Yeah, let's live life on the edge. Let's live on the edge.
I was a little worried about some feedback happening there. I will celebrate a very specific part of promotion, which was that they had carnations to throw at the end, a la graduation caps that did not exist. But it was super fun because they all did it on cue. They did a great job, and I hope somebody got a picture of it because I think that could have been a really cool skill.
Yes, if anybody got a picture of that, send it in. We forgot to get our cameras out. we went, oh, we missed that.
So Carissa, if you're out there watching.
Yeah. Oh, Krista Johnson must have got a great picture. That's right,
She
of
had
course.
us promoting eighth
Carissa,
graders, so we
need
keep
that.
our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Amy?
Well, I'm going to jump off the promotion thing because that was cool and all, but today, spending the morning with the teachers and the last event for us for this school year is just always super fun, even though everybody ends up in tears at the end because we're exhausted, but just because the feeling of just being together as a community and celebrating that we did it and being silly and having fun, and it's always a good thing.
Yeah, I love the end of the year celebration. As a part of that celebration, I'd like to celebrate some people who I'm not going to specifically call out in the slide, so I'll call them out here. We had 2 classified staff members of the year, one from the K-8, one from the high school, and 2 teachers of the year, one from the K-8, one from the high school. And one fifth person I would celebrate is that we all gave a standing ovation and celebration of, I don't know if you've met her before, Amber Husted. She's our 7-year WAVE president, just stepped down from WAVE. We invited her out to celebrate her today, and there was tons of love for her. She has touched so many lives of the people in that room. So it was great celebration. We had our K-8 classified member of the year, Isabella Gabrielli. Sorry, I was saying her name backwards. Isabella Gabrielli, amazing instructional aide in our Student Support Services program. And at the high school campus, Lizzie Edmondson, who also is instructional aide. And then the 2 teachers, the K-8 teacher is Maureen Weiner, and the high school teacher is Jeanette Mixitz. And it was great. I mean, they're just amazing people, and I wanted to celebrate them on the YouTube so everybody knows that they got celebrated today.
Thank you, John. With that, are there any other board comments for items not related to the agenda? Seeing none, we'll go to public comments. None at this point. We'll check back in. And that brings it to you, Amber, for your WAVE report, your last WAVE report.
That's so weird.
Hi. It's on, right? Yep. Okay, so I had to look back and see all the things that have happened since we had our last meeting. Our last meeting was in the middle of Staff Appreciation Week. It was a fantastic week. We had a lot of good feedback. We had a great group of volunteers who made that week happen on 2 campuses for the entire week. So it was just really great all around. We had a game night the next night, which was that Friday night after we had our last board meeting. And it was a small group, but it was really thoroughly enjoyed by everyone who attended in the high school Oasis. It's a great venue for that, and it was really enjoyed by a lot of families. And then the fireworks booth is back this summer. It's for the first time since 2019. The proceeds are going to our high school athletics and activities. We have a lot of people already volunteering. It's really nice to see people are looking forward to it. They're excited about it. The location is at, I think, 2606 Gateway Oaks Drive, which is right next to Starbucks in the center there where there's a Mountain Mike's. There's a Brazilian restaurant that I've heard is really good, so you could grab some Brazilian while you get your fireworks. So there's a few businesses in there that look pretty. I think there's a Mountain Mike's, I think I said that. Starbucks. There's several, maybe a hair, like a barber. So come on out. There's lots of things to see and do there, and support our fireworks booth and volunteer if you can. And we had a lot of parents. We talked a lot about the things that have been going on, but I kind of went through my schedule, the school schedule, all the things that I've heard from parents over the last month. I mean, parents loved attending. I'm sure Dr. Ike will go over some of these celebrations, but open house at both campuses. We had a high school athletics banquet that was very well attended.
It really was.
We had Rumpus in the Rainforest, which I did not get to see, but I saw pictures, and the gym was just packed. And the songs, I still remember them from when my 15-year-old was in first grade. And we had, goodness, so many things. Field day on both campuses that we had lots of family members volunteer at. We had Aloha to Kindergarten yesterday, and then of course promotion, which everybody was just so thankful for. I think that the time and venue was much appreciated by a lot of our families. So I think those are just a lot of things our families have appreciated in the past month and volunteered at. And we've had a lot of parents volunteering at other things as well. I think we've actually seen it getting back to those 2019 levels. You come on campus, we have families volunteering in classrooms and doing all kinds of different things. We've had families fixing the lost and found every single day for the past few weeks. So we've just seen a lot of that volunteerism coming back, and it's been fantastic to see. And then we did have our final WAVE meeting of the year, where 4 of 5 of the current WAVE board members are leaving the board, and we have all 4 of those spots
filled. We have one person who agreed to stay on so she could kind of be the transition person and help with a new group of people. And they've begun planning events and activities for the 23-24 school year. We have a new board president who's going to be reporting to you going forward, and I know she's really looking forward to it. And then I want to speak on behalf of the board that I've been with for many years. They are very proud, and we've worked really hard to bring things back, as we've talked about, bring things back to where they were, and rebuild our community and get us all back together. So we're really proud, and we're excited about what's going to come ahead.
Yeah, it's been a great year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amber. Shannon, I'll do charter impact network, which it's funny because there wasn't a meeting this month, but I don't want to call it homework assignments, but there are assignments pending, and so the goal is still to have a white paper completed in the month of June, right? With different pieces being brought together. Do you remember the date on that meeting?
The June meeting?
23rd?
Sorry.
No, 22nd?
22nd.
So on the 22nd, we'll have further discussions about that, but we're in a really good place, so it's almost ready to go. Josh, we didn't have a development meeting, but do you have a report? Or we're not having one? Never mind, we had one.
It was a while ago. We focused on just wrapping up our Big Day of Giving campaign, looking at what we can build on, the systems we created, and what we can do going forward, maybe a little more focus on social media. We've got some ideas there. So we really want to build on what we created for this year so we can continue to use it going forward. And Hope's right, there's no meeting in June, so we'll meet again in July.
All the months are running together. It's the moons. I can't help it. Sean, in finance.
So there's a little item on the budget tonight of the budget. On the agenda, it's the budget. And so that was the main focus of our meeting, apart from also deciding to not have a meeting in June for finance. So we will reconvene July 27th.
Thank you, Sean. Government's met tonight. What we discussed is also on the agenda, and that is the 23-24 board committee and role assignment. So we'll get to that in a little bit. With that, I will kick it over to you, Dr. Ike.
I love it. Hi, everybody. We got a quick couple of slides here, 50, 60 or so. Just kidding, not really. Want to give Shannon an opportunity to celebrate, though. Hi, Shannon. How you doing?
Good. I'm still trying to log in.
Yeah.
I am here.
Okay. Good. It's good to see you, man. You got any little celebrations on the DL you want to throw down before I do 27 celebrations on slides?
Yeah. I mean, first I'll celebrate. This is my last meeting.
Hey!
I
was so
know.
excited.
So bittersweet, but just want to say thank you again for everyone for making me feel so welcome as the definitive outsider to the board initially. But then I also have to shout out that I just got back from Japan and it was amazing. And I was riding the best trains in the world and I really couldn't be more blissed out right now.
I love it so much. I love it. You can always weave in a good transportation celebration. It's good. It's good. While we're on the point of celebrations, Hope, would you like to celebrate anything?
Sure, we do have plaques to thank Shannon and Katie for their service on the board. I will give you yours after if that works. But we're very thankful for you. This board only works because of those people who volunteer their time to do so. Amen. And there isn't a lot of thanks in the work, but you show up and you do it, and for that we'll be forever grateful. So thank you.
Very good, very good. It just dawned on me that we didn't do public comment at the high school, as we did. So is it okay if I check for that right now?
Yes, please.
Mr. Siemens, so apologize. Do we have any public comments being made at the high school?
There are no members of the public to make comments tonight.
Got it. And there's any mariachi music playing anywhere?
I hear it in my head all the time.
I know. I was trying to get him to sing. You don't know this. He's got this beautiful voice. I was trying to get him to sing on YouTube. All right. Thank you, Mr. Siemens. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Shannon and Katie, thank you both for being on the board. Katie, I know you have to step off because you're stepping into an admin role. We're super excited to have you in the admin team. And Shannon, I believe you are staying on the Impact Committee. Love that. And I remember when you and I first met and we're like, I don't know, you interested in sitting on a school board? Let's talk about what that looks like. And you didn't know a single edu acronym. And now you could write a book about all the acronyms.
Can I commit to 3 years? And here I am, 6.5 years later.
It is amazing. Well, thank you so much for your service, both of you guys. This has been great. All right, well, let's do a little board meeting. I suspect we'll do some celebrations. I think I have 127 celebration slides, so I'll just jam through them. Book Character Day was phenomenal. Our teachers, our students. The students are great, but I expect the students to dress up. It's the teachers who crack me up. I mean, right? What's that one up there on the left? Chicka boom, chicka boom.
That's it.
It's so funny. They dress up as palm trees. It's the greatest. I love it. Our 8th graders had just an amazing Santa Cruz field trip. There they are sleeping out under the stars over there, toes in the water. The picture that I don't have up there is they're doing their community service project, which they all dug into. It's such a great end of the year as they go toward promotion to have this kind of bonding moment at that overnight field lesson. 5th grade dance. This is the first time we've done a 5th grade dance. Big shout out to Michelle Ho, Jessica Gallenboard, the kind of brains behind that whole operation. And 5th grade students, I have one in my house, they said, hey, that felt really good. They say they enjoyed that. And the 8th grade dance as well, a lot of dancing at the end of the year. Look, you put Michelle Ho in charge of anything and you're going to get a good theme out of it. Look at the Aloha theme over there. Just so cool, so cool. Here's your Wave Family Game Night that Houston was talking about. I love that event, man. I didn't make it this year because I had a thing, but I love the outdoor oasis and our little kids at the big high school. I think it's so fun. I don't know if everybody heard about this, but there was a cap grad ceremony. It was an award ceremony put on by Angelique Ashby and some folks at the Capitol. And a couple of our 8th grade students got awards. We watched those kids walk the stage last night. A couple of fantastic students of ours. This is a celebration. It was a levee building with WCS project. But the engineer who came and helped us out was a
Founding family and student.
founding family member and student. And we all walked around the corner like, hey! Wait a minute, we know you. So it's fantastic to have a founding family mom and her student as an adult come back and help out our 2nd graders. So it was super cool. Open house at the K-8 was an absolute smash hit. And I think the next slide, no, it's not. I was looking for the high school open house. The high school open house, just for us in this room, who we talked a lot about, we're not building a new high school. We're expanding this K-8 into high school. And when I walked through the open house at the high school and walked through the open house at the K-8, it dawned on me that I don't know if we wrote it down clearly enough or what we did, but it is demonstrative. You look at the high school and you go, yes, if I know that K-8 well, this is what this K-8 would grow up to as exemplars of learning, as mastery of learning. It was really impactful. It really impacted me. I walked around the high school at open house and went, wow, we're really doing it. We are really not starting something new, but expanding something that we believe in. It was really cool. The K-8 was jam-packed this night and tons of fun. Hey, our induction staff members who are in the first 2 years of teaching go through an induction process to clear their credential in the state of California. So we have our induction mentors and mentees all get together at the end of the year and do a report out. And the report outs were rich. I mean, just really rich learning experiences for our inductees. Our web and link crew leaders. Next year, we're going to have 11th grade link crew leaders who are bringing the freshmen in and bringing them into high school as upperclassmen, speaking to underclassmen. It's going to be fantastic. And our web crew here at the middle school is just doing great work. And this is a picture of an outgoing wave board to be replaced by a brand new incoming wave board, -1. One person staying behind, holding down the fort. But, man, so much gratitude for this team right here. And very much especially Amber Houston. I'm, legit not going to lie. Honestly, you guys, you're my bosses. I will tell you that, when Amber stepped onto the wave board 7 years ago, her and I sat in a room, didn't know each other at all. And we're like, all right, man, if we lead this place together, we can do something special. And I look at what we've done over 7 years, and I really think that a lot of the stuff that we've done, this whole mission statement of demonstrating what's possible in school and community collaborate, was from that first meeting on. Houston and I are on a podcast every week together with the principals. It's been a really special deal. So I'm excited to onboard the new team, but I have to say I'm especially fond of the current team as well. Oh man, our first Westlake Charter High School theater event. Drama teacher Brandon Rubin put on a cool theater event in a really cool, funky way. Rolled up the back door of the outdoor stage, put the audience on the outside and the actors on the inside. Really cool because when we first built that stage, that was one of the configurations we had in mind, and he just went with it, and we're building that black box over at the high school, so I'm sure the next show will be there. But really cool little show put on by our amazing high school staff And here it is. We're back. Rumpus in the Rainforest. It was, you can't see it from this picture, but it was floor to ceiling, wall to wall, standing room only, jam-packed in that gym. And the kids were beaming with pride. But who was it? Ms. Clemmer is like, she told me today, I've never done Rumpus in the Rainforest. I've heard about it. I've been here for 3 years, but we've never done it. And she goes, when it was over, I was so proud. It was so amazing. I'm like, yes. I mean, it took her 3 years, her third year here, to have this experience, but she was just so proud of her kids. Let's see. I don't know if I think you all heard about this, but instead of having like an end of year dance, Westlake Charter School does what it does. It does something funky, and Westlake Charter High School threw a pool party and rented out the entire aquatic center, and our kids loved it. It was a really cool event. I think we should do a board event there. Yeah, great opportunity. The Glee concert to round out the end. I mean, look how many events have been happening. This place has just been jumping all season. Love it. The Glee concert. Aloha to kindergarten. This is one of the highlights of my year. You can see down there in the right corner, this goofy guy on the guitar singing with 110 kindergartners. It was like the best gig I've ever done in my life. So great. I mean, again, wall-to-wall families, bringing back that vibe, that Aloha to Kinder vibe. So many families came up to me with a little like, that was amazing. Like, oh my gosh, it's all going so fast. I'm like, yes, they're going to graduate from high school in a minute.
It is a minute.
It is going to go quick. But it was such a great event. Our kinder teachers, I would put our kinder team against any team in the world. They're just phenomenal. What a great experience for our families. And of course, here's a picture of promotion from both sides. From our side, thank you all for being there. Super appreciate you being on stage with us. And then a picture from the other side. And the student speakers were just phenomenal. Great show all the way around. And an end of year breakfast today where we were laughing and celebrating and competing in games. Our teachers are like the most competitive people. Gosh. Like, we opened the year, we're like, team is the theme. Oh, we all love each other, we're a team. And then this, we're like, you're on the other team. And it was like, game on. It was so competitive. It was hilarious. Be like, there's Rojo. She's like, at the end, I was like, hey, how'd you do? I won every single game. I won every game. Like, okay, Rojo, you're so competitive. Everybody's so competitive. It was great. A fantastic end of the year. I think we ended very strong. And this next year, we'll be wearing this T-shirt right here, which is a podcast player. Isn't that kind of cool, Houston? It's a podcast player, a little Everest, and the core values right there. So that'll be on the back of next year's T-shirt. Okay. Any other celebrations I missed? I mean, 112 slides. Did I miss anything? All right. Strategic actions, I'll try and make them quick. I just want to talk about reconnecting our community, kind of reflection on that, and prepping for the fall. Going back to that executive director goal 1, reconnecting our community. I just want to kind of give a tip of the hat to the reemergence of these indoor activities. Promotion felt like promotion again. It wasn't like promotion with an asterisk. Oh, good job. You were able to pull it off. It wasn't like, oh, you were able to pull it off. It was like, no, this is what we do. We do this big thing. We make it special for our kids and our family, our community, and no asterisks on it. Aloha, all the things that we do. Even today's end-of-year breakfast, there wasn't an indoor seating and outdoor seating. It was just like, hey, let's do this thing where we all do it together. I got to tell you, in Houston, I've talked about this a lot. It's been a struggle, obviously, for several years. And this year, we really wanted to focus on that reconnecting. I think we pulled off of the big events, the Chili Cook-Off, the International Festival, the Fall Festival. And I feel like next year, there will be no question about whether we can or should. There will just be what we will do. And then we get to decide what we will do. And I love that, and I think we've really accomplished this piece really well. I think they're really examples of reconnecting our community. I feel like we're back. I think volunteerism is super on the rise, and I feel great about that work. Obviously planning for the fall, you can see this calendar on the right is a calendar that's now co-crafted between the WAVE team and the admin team, already looking ahead at next year at all 180 days of school. We're looking over the plane. Yeah, we're in the plane takeoff pattern there. We have summer professional development planning. You have some teachers going to Responsive Classroom. It turns out Responsive Classroom, which is a program that all of our teachers go through, K-8, they don't have a high school program yet. But Responsive Classroom is piloting a high school program. So they've reached out to some very special high schools nationwide to see who would like to pilot this program. And they picked Westlake Charter High School. So our Westlake Charter High School teachers have been invited to some summer professional development training around what responsive classroom could look like at the high school level. Very excited about that. We have some math PD. We have quite a few things going on this summer that are very exciting, as well as all of our special education team has been invited to a really cool special education boot camp that's put on through our SELPA. Very excited. That's work being led by Katie Davis. We're onboarding new staff. I'll tell you in a subsequent slide, we are now fully staffed on the certificated side of the house. There's a lot of onboarding work to do, making sure that we get everybody, all the things that they need, and we'll be doing that work all summer long. Preparing for that. We're preparing, math adoption materials, professional development, what's being used at which grade level, what parts of the curriculum are rolling out first. Really a big piece. It's a big lever for us. I mean, if we've talked about math scores on NWA and CASP and how we perform, I think we perform typical for the region, but I don't think we perform up to our own expectations, and we think that the math adoption materials will help. So it's a big lever for us to pull this year, and we're excited about doing that. We're doing a lot of hard work over the summer on that. Reorganizing that capacity building team that we talked about with the 2 new TOSAs. So we'll be building professional development modules throughout the year, but we've kind of increased the size of that team by saying, hey, who are all the other non-classroom folks that we can pull into that team to help really orchestrate the building of that capacity building project. So Katie Davis and her team, Jessica Ashby, Jessica Block, all of our TOSAs are going to be involved in that. It's going to be very exciting. Just a couple of updates and a great picture of kindergartners dancing. Enrollment and staffing. Enrollment staffing, it says land acquisition. I must have missed the land acquisition on the part there, sorry. Just want to update on the land acquisition piece. Reminder that our land is in escrow. We are currently in escrow. However, we are waiting for the lot line adjustment from the city of Sacramento. Not sure if I ever reported that out on the YouTube, so I wanted to make sure that I did that publicly. We expect that the city council could be voting on that in August of 23. So we thought at one point maybe it was going to be the July, but that's not probable. So by August, that lot line adjustment could happen, which would actually trigger the first of 30 days should we want to exercise those 30 days. So we are in a good spot. We have our escrow account, fully funded, and we are ready to go on that piece there. Now enrollment staffing facilities. Got it. It's been kind of a late few nights in a row. Sorry about the slides. There's those facilities. I just want to talk K-12 enrollment. Super excited, right? We're obviously at 1,000 at the K-8 as always. We're at $145 in 9th grade right now, which is very, very strong for us. $120 and $130, which takes us down to $13.95 across both campuses. Remember, we're projected for 1,500 fully at capacity. If all of those high school students stuck and we got another 150 in the next fall, we'd be a little over capacity. So we're obviously kind of seeing how that grows and goes, but we are right on target for enrollment, which, I think we all forget about the birthing process of building a high school. I mean, it's been a lot of hard work that I think we forget. That alone should have been the pure focus of everything a school like us is doing, but it's almost like a side dish. We're like, oh yeah, we're reconnecting our community, building these great things, K-8, but growing a high school is a lot of hard work, and here's the part that doesn't go well for people. Staffing, enrollment, and finances. We got budget tonight. I think we look healthy. We've got enrollment, incredibly healthy, and staffing on the next slide you're going to see. So, I mean, just good work to everybody involved on the high school side of the house. Growing a high school is really challenging, and the work's being done really well by the team.
Sorry, quick question.
I see you reaching for your mic. I'll be quiet.
No, the numbers are great. I just was curious if there is still a wait list at the high school.
It's a great question. I know there are wait lists at grade levels. I don't know that there's a wait list at 9th grade. So I could find out. We may be down because I see 145, and if it were a wait list, we would enroll to 150. So I didn't ask that question. However, you could have a few pending, so I can ask Melissa Grunholz and email that to you if you want, or bring it to I'll bring it out in July.
Just a curiosity, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the numbers are great. I was just curious.
Yeah. And with those two at 120, 130, I think there actually might be a wait list on both of those, but there may not be in high school, so I'll check. Any other questions on enrollment? Super excited. Just want to talk about K-12 certificated staffing. It's really been a challenge you guys. Not because of our attrition rate. We actually have a far below average attrition rate. I think I put it on a slide in here, but our teacher retention is strong. I guess I gotta tell you, like, the teacher shortage is no joke. It is real, and there will be schools not far from here, probably in walking distance, that will open up with substitutes in the classroom. And there are several schools in our region who finished up, this week, last week, whatever it was, who started the year with substitutes in the classroom and ended the year with those substitutes in the classroom. The teacher shortage is on. I don't know. I think it's been kind of one of the toughest seasons that we've seen for like just general positions. Very, very, very small pools. You put out a posting on EdJoin, and we used to get 50, 60, 70 applications for a single opening. Now you're like, hey, these 7 look pretty good. It's fascinating. Now, we've been lucky. We've pulled some really quality candidates out of some real small pools. But it's interesting out there. I think we should all be aware of that and know that whatever we do to recruit and retain is probably effort well worth expending. We are fully staffed on our general education, general ed positions. K-12 now, we just buttoned up, K-12, K-11, we just buttoned up our last hire today, which is very exciting on the general ed side of the house. We do still have one open education specialist position at the high school, but we think we'll be able to button that up before the end of the month, and we'll go into next year fully staffed. You know how that goes. Just let's do that. Retention is something we always talk about as goal area 1-1. The recent research that we were reading in Impact indicated that California has, on average, a 12% attrition rate, which is higher than the previous attrition rate that I had demonstrated to the board, looking at the national averages at being 10%, which in our impact documents, 10% is the number we're trying to beat because that was the national number that we were utilizing. But I think that 12% is really interesting because that document was published 3 years ago, and I think California's higher than 12% right now. So, having said that, we're actually at a lower percentage this year than we were last. We were 7.5 last year. We're 7% this year. We have more than 7% of our staff leaving their classrooms, but attrition is calculated by who's leaving the profession or leaving our school. So we have several promotions, but we don't count like a Katie Davis as part of the attrition. Any questions on that? Yeah, we'll report back. Classified's a really interesting push as well, just so you know. I mean, the shortage is real, and we'll have IA positions. So I encourage anybody out there who knows of anybody looking for a really good place to work, part-time, full-time, hit us up because we have positions that'll be open in the fall for sure in the classified side of the house. Instructional aides, yard duties, base employees. All right, I believe that's all for me. Thank you so much, team. It's a great year.
Before we start this very large consent agenda, would you like to do a quick check for public comment?
Sure. Goodness. Let me hit a little refresh. Just looking for Krista to tell us she's got pictures. No pictures.
I was really hopeful. I mean, that's really why I asked.
Hoping she sending a picture of the flowers thrown up. I put it up on the screen. All right. No, I see no comments in the inbox.
So that brings us to the consent agenda tonight. Before I ask for any comments, I do have to make a disclosure as required by California law. On tonight's agenda, item 7D, we do have John's fixed term employment agreement. State law requires us to report out if there's any changes to compensation. As you know from the board brief, there were. So this agreement includes a 12% increase over last year's salary. This matches the 8% that was given earlier in the year to certificated staff and the 4% increase that was included as part of his last agreement, as well as the same bonus amount of $3,000 that was provided during the 21-22 school year. The last adjustment was just to bring the deferred compensation contribution up to our practice of 5% of the annual salary, so that number was adjusted to reflect that. With all that being said, are there any other questions related to items A through G on tonight's consent agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve?
I will move the consent agenda.
Thank you, Sean. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Shannon. Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Nurali,
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
Oh, I see it. I see the pause.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, is
We
there a
don't
typo?
catch everything.
It's good. It's all good.
It's all good. It should be 2 MGs. It's all fine. Our first item on the regular agenda is accept and approve local indicators.
I can present on that. I know there was a board brief on this piece, but I do have a couple slides just to kind of go over them. I'm not sure if everybody, I love to present on all things California education related, and I kind of love this topic because I think a part of it's funny. But it's also a great piece to recognize that these local indicators are partly how it's a report card for the school on the California state dashboard. So as you'll recall, the local control funding formula says, hey, schools, you can have control over your own local funding, but you got to make a plan, and that plan is the LCAP, just another acronym, right? The Local Control Accountability Plan. And what happens in that plan is we set out a plan, and then it goes, okay, we got this LCFF dashboard to say, how did you do on the plan? And I suspect if you didn't do well on the plan, eventually they wouldn't give you the money. I'm not sure how that works, but everyone seems to do pretty well on the plan. So this is, tonight we're talking LCAP at one point, but this is a portion of the dashboard that says, hey, how did you do on your local indicators? So again, if you go to the California State dashboard and click on Westlake Charter School, you can see all of the indicators, how we're doing, suspension rate, English language learners, all those things. But we have these 5 pieces that are locally measured, meaning we do our own analysis and report out to the state how we did. And you either could say you met standard or didn't meet standard. They don't give you like, hey, give yourself a C+. It's just, it's on or off. Now these other ones, just like for reference, right? These other ones, pupil achievement, and pupil engagement or absenteeism. All of these are data that's reported externally, right? We take this test, and the state knows how we did, and so they put that over here for us. But we have to go and look at our own basic conditions. Are we meeting state standards? Are we involving parents? Do we have school climate awareness and analysis? And do we have course access? So that's what I'm reporting on tonight. I'll give you, don't bury the lead. We are indicating that we met in all 5 areas, and I'll walk through that. Hope?
Sorry, there's just, when do we get to start doing college and career?
Yeah, it is online. It is on. We are going to hit 11th grade next year, and then that thing's going to turn on. Yeah. So it's part of, right now we have course access in high school as part of our indicator, but we don't have college and career indicators until you become an 11th grader, which is funny because we already have 100% of our 10th graders who have engaged in a college and career readiness activity, which is dual enrollment. So dual enrollment is one of the 5 indicators that can be utilized for college and career, this for CCI on this dashboard, and we've already met 100% of the standard for next year's class, but they're not reportable yet because they're not upperclassmen yet. We're super exciting though, right? Yeah, love it.
I feel like a celebration there.
Yeah, we'll take it, right? Yeah, so for a long time we're like, well, this doesn't matter. We can't do that one yet. Well, we will next year. It'll be super fun. So the opening narrative, I just want to kind of scroll through these quickly so they're on the YouTubes for anybody who would like to look at them though. These are also in the board packet. If you have any questions on them, just please stop me. I wanted you to see them live in person. So our narrative about how our year went, our narrative about Area 1, proper assignment of credentials, teachers in the classroom. Area 2, the implementation of academic standards and what we do to make sure that everybody's up to speed. Area 3, parent involvement, engagement, all our coffee talks, our survey work, pieces like that. By the way, I know we talked about parent survey last time I was here, and you really encouraged me to increase the N, the number, and we did real well. I'll come back next month. We have over 200 surveys filled out now. So I think last time, what did we have, 68? And we said that was too small, and the number of parents went up, and the survey indicators went up as well, slightly, but they went up. So parent involvement, family engagement, we met, and then school climate. Now this is an interesting new piece for us, everybody. We are now utilizing the California Healthy Kids Survey, 5th, 7th, and 9th grade. That's new for us. We kind of grappled with that for years now of whether or not to utilize that survey, but now that we have the high school, there's a really kind of a clear, definitive, like, yeah, that's a good metric to turn on because you really want to know at the high school level how your students are comparing nationally or across California. So that's a good piece for us. Really interesting data. For the 7th and the 5th graders, it's opt-in. For 9th grade, it's opt-out. So you get this great 9th grade data. The 5th and the 7th grade data aren't really big sample sizes yet, but I think in coming years, we'll try to increase those sample sizes as well. So we can report back on that more as we report out in the fall. Yeah, broad access to court. Now here's where this will get interesting in the high school as well, this broad access piece. Any questions on the local indicators? Yeah, it's kind of nerdy. I don't know that anybody has any deep questions, but I'd love to talk if you're interested. So with that, we are just seeking approval or an acceptance of these indicators, and we're going to hand them off to the state of California shortly.
Are there any questions related to this item, or is there a motion to accept and approve the local indicators? I feel race is happening.
I'll accept and approve.
Thank you, Nerali.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Hope,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Nerali,
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
Item B, accept and approve twice the 23-24 local control and accountability plan. I should have known because I retitled it in the board brief in the packet because I was like, why has it got this twice?
Accept and approve.
We just
Yeah, we just
really wanted
really
to
need
make
it
sure.
done.
Just,
Like-
Just gotta make
And
sure.
it can get buried with the budget, and now it won't. So
no, it won't. That's right.
yeah.
So the LCAP has been updated based upon information we received from the governor's May revise. I received no other comments over this past month. So other than that update, the LCAP has remained consistent from last month to this month. So at this point, we're just looking for approval this evening.
Thank you.
Yep.
Are there any board questions? And if not, is there a motion to accept and approve the 23-24 LCAP?
I'll move to accept and approved.
Thank you, Josh. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Katie.
Hope,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Nerali,
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
Great. Now, Steve, it really is your turn. The next item is accept and approve the WCS 23-24 budget.
Oh.
At the plate, Steve Corbett.
Sorry, John, it's so tight. It is tight over here tonight.
Let me get the here. Every close your eyes, you're gonna see the slides.
Don't worry, there's Steve's slides. There's plenty.
Lots of words.
Ouch.
And they're beautiful. They're
Great
beautiful.
words. But
They are great
it's not like this is a non-dense subject.
It's a lot of fun.
It's a lot.
I thought this was your home stadium. What's going on here?
Right. Pitching to the wrong, yeah. I hope everyone enjoyed the budget brief. Budgets can be tough to kind of chew on sometimes, so this one just somehow was baseball themed. It just came out, and so there you go. So we're going to talk about next year's budget, the 23-24 school budget. Really started off last month with the governor's May revise when he came out. You'll recall the governor came out in January and was predicting a $20 billion or so budget deficit. He revised that when he came out to $31+ billion deficit, so a couple $1 billion between friends. Really coached that as being, hey, revenues are down, but also utilization of programs is up. So voila, we're in a tougher budget time. Some good news is that he is fully funding the COLA, so that's positive for schools and districts. He's using some one-time funds to fully fund that COLA, which is, a little precarious. We never like to fund ongoing programs with one-time funds. We don't do that as a school. We hope the state really wouldn't do that, but they are, particularly as far as the May revise is. And so we'll see what happens with that. The state has about a week left to adopt a budget. If the state goes beyond June 15th, the legislatures don't get paid. So it's amazing how quickly they do approve a budget so their paychecks can't continue. And then they follow that with many, many trailer bills to kind of clean it up. So that's likely what will happen. We'll see what happens over the next week. The governor during the time did propose some mid-year cuts, although he didn't call them mid-year cuts. So we're going to take a quick snapshot to see what that looks like. So we'll start off about a year ago at this time. The state had quite a bit of money, and so we actually didn't budget anything for the Arts Music Instruction Block Grant, that AMI Block Grant, or the Learning Recovery Block Grant, because the state had yet to figure out how they were going to dole these funds out to schools and districts. So nothing was included in the adopted budget, but at first interim, we saw quite a bit of money coming in for that. And then between first interim and second interim, that got scaled down a little bit, and now the governor is proposing at least to scale that down a little bit further to this tune of about $429,000. We'll see if that gets proposed again or adopted over this next week. But again, he was proposing kind of continue to claw back some of those one-time allocations because the state again is facing just this tough budget situation. So again, we'll continue to monitor it over the next week or so. And in many cases, the governor's budget does not include things, right, and not priorities. So he was very explicit not to include a proposal to withdraw from the rainy day reserves. He was actually asked explicitly by a reporter, do you propose to withdraw? He said, nope, next question, and moved on. So again, we'll see what has happened over the past 3 weeks from a kind of discussion standpoint, but he was very clear he didn't want to touch that yet. He did not mention deferrals as well, so we continued to fund education on a timely manner. If you recall, deferrals are when they say, well, your allocation that was supposed to come, allocation being funding that was supposed to come in April, we'll just push that up to July. So it impacts local agencies, but helps the state from a budgetary standpoint. So he did not propose any deferrals in his budget. He didn't propose what's called a deficited COLA, which leads to maintenance factor. So deficited COLA would be, hey, you're due 8.2%, but I'm going to fund you 5%, and it leads to that kind of deficit that kind of carries forward until they catch you back up in a couple years. So again, that was not in his proposal, but again, one of the tools in their bag that they can use if things get kind of tricky down at the state. Did not propose any specific pension relief either. The past couple of years, the governors help bolster STRS and PERS pension contributions. So those kind of get put back on districts and schools to help continue to fund. Didn't really propose any facilities debt as well. We know there's two competing proposals, one on the assembly side and one on the state side, likely to come up this coming November for school facilities. So he probably didn't mention it specifically because he'll want it to work through that legislative process, and we'll see what that looks like. And then lastly, nothing on ADA, average daily attendance, or enrollment relief. Over the past couple years, we've had some cushion that the governor has provided because of the pandemic. So those essentially have all sunset as well. So nothing, again, in his budget on that. So some good things in the budget, and again, some pieces that were not in there and missing. So after the governor comes out, the Legislative Analyst's Office comes out. So the LAO provides information to the legislature, where the Department of Finance provides information to the governor. So the LAO actually believes that the governor was underestimating the deficit by about, again, $6 billion or so. So again, they are recommending that the governor, again, claw back some more additional funds than he had proposed in his May revise. So again, a little bit of a disagreement between the legislative side and the governor's side. And then the LAO, again, at the time was recommending that the legislature propose, again, or adopt a more conservative budget coming into 23-24 and to really start reducing some of those one-time planned investments. So real quickly, some economic updates. We'll start with some good slides and then go to some questionable slides. So on the good side of the house, unemployment continues to remain low. So folks who are seeking work are able to find it. And again, this is kind of indicative of some historical trends that we've seen now over the past few years. In addition to unemployment being low, inflation has also come down off of its peak. It's a little tough to see, but the darker kind of blue colored peaked at about, 9% about a year ago. We were all talking about inflation and how crazy it was. We're still talking about it, but not to the same extent. It's come down. And again, which is good news. Partly the reason it has come down is because the dotted line there are interest rates. So as interest rates are increased, people traditionally spend less, right, which kind of reduces that inflationary impact. So that dotted line is interest rates and its correlation to home prices. So home prices kind of slumped both in the U.S. and in California over the past couple of years, which we have probably seen locally. So in addition to this increase in interest rates, here is another one that's probably most worrisome, and that is migration from California. So we've always had some populations move from this state, but it's kind of hard to see. The orange line are really the high income earners. That blue line are kind of the middle income earners, and that very, very faint light gray line is the lower income earners. So you'll see over the past couple of years, the rate at which higher income earners have left California is really increasing beyond kind of middle and lower income. So why is this important for us and for California? Well, here's one of those wordy slides, right? So California's budget is really based upon 3 taxes, right? It's a very tax-centric state. You have personal income tax, corporation tax, and sales tax. And 96% of the state's budget is based upon these 3 essential taxes. So out of that, the personal income tax, the tax that we pay every day, makes up 62% of the budget. And out of that 62%, 1% of Californians makes up half of that. So I kind of was thinking about how do I kind of break this down and maybe visualize this a bit. Well, 100 boxes equals 100% of the budget equals, say, $235 billion or so, right? So we just learned that 62 of these boxes would be from, or 62% would be from personal income tax. 18 of those boxes would be from corporate tax, and 16% for sales tax. It might look something like this, right? Where the blue is the personal income tax. Oh, that's going to be hard to see. Sorry. There's 18 in green. Trust me, there's 16 of the orange. And in the far right corner, there's a very, very light shade of gray for all the other miscellaneous pieces of the budget. But again, you can see that 62% of this budget from the state is built upon a personal income tax. Well, 1% of Californians fund that much of the California state budget. So if you have a case where a large majority of the high income earners are moving out of the state, you may end up with a revenue issue at the state level. So again, what does that mean? Is it raising taxes? Is it lowering programs? Is it looking at utilization? It's really just, it's a complicated way for the state to kind of balance its budget. It's been like this for many years. So when the state is in a boom cycle, everyone goes and does very, very well. When the state is in a recessionary cycle, again, things get a little bit tighter. But this is something that maybe would help visualize it a little bit more from how important it is when these high income earners move out of the state. Any questions so far? No? Okay. So jumping into budget specifics then. So as John mentioned, enrollment is looking exceptionally strong through K-11 now. Again, we've built in the 8.22% COLA in the budget. We're also based upon 94% average daily attendance. And so years ago, you may remember, as a little K-5, we were 97%, and then we kind of brought it down to 96%. And these past couple years have been exceptionally challenging to budget around. But we are going to take an increased look in attendance this year, knowing that each 1% equates to about $180,000 in LCFF revenue. And the EPA account, Prop 30, which was passed by voters, 8, 9, 10 years ago now, just sits at just shy, really, of $3 million in revenue. Other components of the budget includes base, wave contributions, and really does not include Silicon Schools or Hastings, the Reed Hastings Growth Fund. Silicon Schools is about $100,000 next year, and if we grow by 145 students next year, the Hastings Growth Fund would contribute $1,000 per student, so that would be another $145,000 into the budget potentially as well. So looking at all the revenues together, you can see most of it, again, comes from the local control funding formula, EPA. We get $1.3 million for special education, other miscellaneous local revenues, lottery funds, mandates, and things like that. And then, again, some local fundings to about $18.4 million in revenue next year. Then you jump to the expenditure side, and I was thinking about Amber's presentation earlier and saying how things are back. Well, things are back, right? There were years ago where there was zero travel, not much PD, not much was happening, right? Things were really scaled back. All of that is now back into the budget. Field lessons are back, right? Fully back. So that's super exciting. So really, the budget in itself is really kind of a whole budget from where we were, say, even in 1920, prior to the pandemic. What's, of course, pending out there, we know, is the parcel acquisition. So we know we have those funds sitting in reserve, waiting for the point where escrow closes, then we would expend those out. And then we're required to report out our EPA expenditures, and those all go towards certificated salaries and benefits. Questions so far? Nope. On the curriculum side of the house, we've actually made some purchases or plan to make some purchases already. You'll see an item later on the agenda tonight for a math curriculum, but Jen Caillou and her team have done a wonderful job of putting together the curriculum purchases for next year. You'll see them here. Also planning for ROAR, all the electives, all these great projects that are happening at the middle and high school. So those are all kind of getting planned for in the budget as well and built in, and we're ready to purchase those. And then on the expenditure side, again, you can kind of see it there. Total is about $17.7 million. Then when you add in our facilities fee for East Commerce, we're about $17.9 million. Another way to look at that is a quick pie chart, right? So you can see about 44% go towards certificated salaries, then classified salaries and employee benefits, books, services, and some outlay, or capital outlay. And of course, on the services side, we always include some of our service providers for special education services, Clean It, Law and Order, right? So some entities might have those on as staff. We just have those folks on a contractual basis. Then when you combine the revenues and expenditures together, you get about $18.4 million in revenues on $17.9 million in expenditures, which leaves us a net increase in fund balance of a little more than $500,000. And again, looking ahead, we'll continue to monitor everything on the economic front, the state budget adoption, what happens with the adoption, and really all the trailer bills that kind of clean it up after the fact. But again, the budget is looking positive at this point, and so is cash. So with that, I would just take any questions or look for approval.
I will move the budget.
Would you mind just checking for public comment?
Sure.
I thought you were going to make a comment as
I
finance
was
chair.
not. I'm sorry.
No, it's
I
fine.
will
Well, John looks. Is there a
hold
second?
on.
I'll second.
Thanks, Josh.
Seeing no comment.
Perfect. Then Amy, with the vote, please.
Hope,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Nurali,
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
That brings us to item D, accept and approve purchase of K-5 Imagine Learning Illustrative Mathematics Curriculum.
Oh, sorry, I was going to try and bring up the agenda, but now I'm going to bring the slides back up because I believe I have a single slide on this. On slide 68.
Yeah.
68, where did it go? A, B, C, D, E, F, there it is. Hey, we're really excited about this piece. I mean, I kind of spoke to it. This K-5 math adoption will bring us in alignment. K-8, which is nice. 6th through 8th grades been using illustrative mathematics for the last year. And in fact, as our CASP results are starting to trickle back in right now, we're doing some early analysis and recognizing that our 7th grade team looks like they maybe had a little bit of a bump in their mathematics achievement scores, and we may attribute that to like kind of the strong adherence to the curriculum. You know, this new 7th grade team comes in, great couple of math science teachers come in, they grab this curriculum and they start, you know, going at it with the curriculum, and looks like the results are strong. So going to illustrative math on the K-5 side will align us K-8 and through high school as well. So I refer to illustrative math because this is the mathematics program, whereas Imagine Learning is the packaging of the curriculum. So illustrative math is packaged by multiple different vendors. This happens to be the vendor that we decided to go with. It's got some really cool digital resources as well as workbook resources. So one of the things that we hear a lot in parent surveys is that, hey, I don't have a lot of homework. It's hard to tell what's happening in the classroom. This is actually one way that would help with that. Our K-5 families will see in a more regular basis what's happening with math instruction by adopting this curriculum and utilizing it with fidelity. So we had a piloting team, 2 piloting teams, a 1st grade team and a 5th grade team, to make sure that upper elementary and low and primary grades both had an opportunity to give feedback. They did really good work. The teams utilized some rubrics to say, hey, what do we like about these programs? What do we not like about these programs? And it was a bit of an arm wrestle at the end. There was these 2 competing curricula that we could have adopted. The team decided to go with this one. I think either would have been great choices, but we're really excited about this. And it's going to be a heavy lift for us. We're going to have to make sure that this isn't something we purchase and pick apart and just use the parts we want, but to actually say, no, this is really an evidence-based curriculum pathway, and we are teachers and designers, but we should design on top of this curriculum, not by taking this curriculum apart, which I think is always this attractive piece when you get a new curriculum, is I'll just use this piece because it looks like what I'm used to. It's going to take some real professional development and growth to use all the pieces that are appropriately utilized to ensure math outcomes. What's nice about it is it has some tier 1 and some tier 2 built in. As we all know, multi-tier systems of support, first best instructional materials, but also what do you do when a kid doesn't get it on the first try? And those tier 2 materials are built into this, which is part of the package, and we feel that's really important for us. That's something that our current math program, which is expired, does not offer. So we're really excited about this. We will be focusing quite a bit of professional development on this throughout the year, and as I talked about, that capacity building team, we'll be making sure that we build modules as well, so when we onboard new teachers in subsequent years, they won't have been left behind and not having access to professional development resources. Any questions about this purchase? Fantastic.
Seeing no questions, is there a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Thanks, Shannon. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Katie.
Hope,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Nurali,
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
Ooh, so we have no discussion items for tonight. In terms of future agenda items, I just wanted to share that Dr. Galloway had reached out to John and I, and that we do have the Delta Club from the high school wanting to come and present to us on some sustainability initiatives. So we'll likely put that off until August, just because once school starts, it feels easier scheduling wise. But that's an exciting piece where we can have some school and board collaboration, which will be awesome. We'll have Brown Act training and other new things. We have a new board member in the room. Amber was appointed earlier this evening to the board. So we'll do that training as soon as we can. With that, John, do you have anything else to add for that?
Gosh, yeah, no, I think we're good. I'm very excited about onboarding our new board members and the process that we'll go through to do that, including Brown Act as well as other onboarding pieces. So, yeah, I'm excited.
So with that, that brings us to reflection. So what worked well? What would be better if? And who wants to go first? Sean.
there were a lot of things on this agenda. I mean, it was a pretty heavy consent agenda, which helps to have a lot of things, but not have to deal with them each separately. But even so, there were a lot of things. And I think we were very efficient. It was obvious that people were prepared. There were great presentations. And so we got a lot done very efficiently. And I appreciate that.
Thanks, Sean. Josh?
I'm going to ditto Sean, but add on a little bit. I know all the educators in the room are pretty doggone tired right now. I know a lot of people have been traveling in and out, and still everybody did all the homework. Everybody read everything, and it always makes for an efficient meeting.
Thanks, Josh. Katie?
What worked well is just the dedication in this room, and as I step off the board, I will still come around. It's been an absolute honor and privilege to serve with you all, and I just appreciate everything that you do for our school.
Thank you, Katie. Steve, do you want to reflect?
Yeah, I think that this is a great board and a great team, and so I would just thank you for your work and everyone's work for it. The celebrations tonight, just kind of reflecting back on where we started the year off and kind of seeing like, yep, we're back in play now and things are all back together, was just really exciting to see. So, yeah, it's just been a really great year.
It's good.
Thanks, Steve. Shannon?
Yeah, I also appreciate all the celebrations, especially at the end of the year. There's a lot, and because I'm not here every day, like can't possibly keep up. So it's always exciting to get to see that, and yeah, just also excited for Amber and other new board members to come on, and just want to say thank you again for everyone for my time here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Nirali?
I think having these board briefs in addition to conversations that Steve, you provide, Dr. Ike, you provide, I think they really help kind of frame the whole thing. So I really appreciated the commentary you had in your brief, Steve. They were always funny, and I appreciate that. So I think that really makes for a very productive meeting. So I just kind of want to second that. So.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for coming prepared and ready to go. This can be a long meeting, but in actuality, I think we've done a really good job managing our time. I'm not sure we've ever been this fast in June. I look forward to onboarding our new members that we approved tonight. And having all your support in helping them learn the ropes and all the acronyms that come with being on the board. John?
Yeah, what worked well about this meeting is systems. The system of setting up the technology. Jessica Block has a perfect system. It runs like this, and now everything works almost always. The systems of producing board briefs and having them in the packet and sending them out and making sure everybody has access, that's a systematic approach. It happens the same way every time. We always start with celebrations, we always end with, and now we have this new onboarding system, this governance onboarding system that I hope we repeat next year, because look what it's done. It's made us a stronger board because we've got this process in place now. And I was just reflecting on like, why is this such an effective room? First of all, because all of the amazing humans, thank you, you're amazing. But now with these systems in place, I'm not so terrified to be like, oh my gosh, we're losing Shannon and Katie. We're like, oh, new people will step in. We're not going to reinvent the wheel. We're going to keep systematically doing the work that we do. And I think congratulations to all of us for like building all the systems to make this thing work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you all for your support this year, and I hope you all have a great summer, and I look forward to seeing you right here in the next meeting.
On the
I was going to
YouTubes.
say July, but who knows?
We'll probably do Brown Act, We'll have a real fun July
That's
meeting.
a great July.
That's an awesome July. So with that, I will adjourn the meeting at 7:40.
Okay.
Everything's here, and we'll clean it up in the morning.
Oh, we could clean up the morning, huh?
Yes, we don't have to worry
That would
about
be great.
Oh,